Another day, another great guest.
Always.
Marisa Arce, the women's tennis coach at DePaul, was so fun to talk to. And she's a short queen like us. I mean, you're not as short as me.
I'm not a short queen.
But
You are a short queen.
You're like a medium queen.
I'm an average size queen. I always thought I was a tall queen until I started playing volleyball and was surrounded by women who were like talking to God, you know, and then you realize you're not tall.
We took a picture with her and I was like, wow, she's like my size.
Yeah.
It's great. And she's athletic. So I felt great about that. But she was so inspiring to speak to because she recruits and thinks about tennis in such a unique way. She is so thoughtful when it comes to building a great team, reading books, like team building stuff, and being okay with her team asking questions.
Yeah.
She wants that.
Yeah. The what's the word I'm looking for? Like mutual respect, I think, is refreshing to see from a coach. And that's not to say that there aren't other coaches out there, but to hear it firsthand and she talks about this in the episode of like the women on her team are like, why are we doing this? And instead of her being like, because I said so, she's like, okay, let me explain to you why. And I think taking the extra step to be like, I'm going to break down for you why we're doing this, why this is important for you, for us, for the program, helps them buy in. And not only does it help them buy in on the physical side, I think we also see it from the like real sense of community and family that she's built with the women. And, you know, she told us this one fun fact that I want you guys to hear it, but there's a lot that I think we don't understand. Like, I don't understand being like an international athlete.
Her whole team is international
which
students.
is wild to think about. And when you consider like the little details that we kind of take for granted of, you know, making sure your dorm room is nice, having those little things that you need. Her players are doing that for the new women coming in. And it really is it's the little details that go a long way.
Yeah. Sonia, the college experience, like such a big part of people being comfortable here in a big city like Chicago.
No, totally. I like can't imagine like moving over here alone at 18. Like I moved
and
over
not being
here,
even from here.
Yeah, never been to America. Like that's wild. But I was so excited to have her on too because I have taken photos with the women's tennis team before, and so I actually went with them first of all, the girls organized this on their own. They organized to be guest readers at like a local like elementary school.
Oh wow.
I know. They did they wanted to do that.
Oh my
so
God.
they organized that like to volunteer and go do that. So I went with them to go take photos of that because obviously great promo. Like, yes, we have such a wonderful group of girls. But like they were like, yeah, just like, I was like, so should I meet y'all there? Like, how should this work? And they're like, no, girl, like come in the van with us. Like, but like, so I went in the van with them and like, they were so welcoming, like asked me questions, including me in the conversation. Like, and I just was like, oh my God, these are the sweetest women ever. Like I like genuinely one of my favorite teams to work with actually. And also I just think like she is such a good, like she must have such a good read on people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You can tell.
Cause like every single one of those girls, they just like fit together like a beautiful little puzzle from
Which
what I've
is
seen.
not easy to do.
No.
And the other thing that she talked about that I thought was so fascinating and like, to me, I'm like, how didn't I think about that? But like tennis is an individual sport.
Right.
However, it is a team sport in this sense. So how do you recruit the right women who have that team mindset, yet they have always been on an individual team their entire life?
And especially like coming from like, okay, like in America, a lot of things are team sports. That's just kind of our thing. But like in the UK, a lot of these girls are from the UK and like it's not played like that there. Like they come here because you mash school with sports in America. That's like our brand. That's why so many of the soccer players come from the UK because you don't do that there. And so I just think that like to find people like that and to have such a pool of people who want to be part of your program and be able to be selective is like, that just says so much about
it says a lot about her
Yeah.
and what she's building. And even, you know, the transfers of, it sounds so simple, but like when you could have fun again doing this.
No, literally.
And to lose, like there's nothing worse. And like I've experienced this of like when you lose the love for the game, like it's heartbreaking and it's hard to explain because for me, it was always the escape from life. And so then to have to go to the escape from life when you're not loving that, it's like this extra add-on. So to have these women say like, I love tennis again. Like, I don't think there is a greater achievement.
No,
Like, obviously you want to win and like those things matter too, but like that's something that like that's the gold.
Yeah.
That really is the gold in my opinion.
It's really interesting. Like, I had a class with one of her players, and she transferred too, and so I was just like, oh, how do you like DePaul, whatever, like, what brought you here? And she was like, I hated playing tennis where I played before, and I moved over from Italy, and I knew nobody, and I was in the middle of nowhere, and it was so scary, and I felt so alone, and I was like, I need to get out of here. And so she came here, and like, she is just like such like a ray of sunshine, and I'm like, damn, like they were like dimming your sparkle, like
We don't want that.
That sucks, and I'm so happy that she's here now. And so just like I feel like I've had a lot of like personal interactions with the women's tennis team, and they've all been just so positive, and they always talk about Mish. Like, they're just like, oh yeah, I'll just like call her up real quick, like, oh, we're gonna go get coffee with Mish after this. Like,
That's
just
nice.
They just seem like they have like a very, very tight bond that I think they realize is super rare. And I think a lot of like, I don't know, I think from the outside looking in, it's like, wow, like just to ride in the van with you guys for one day, like that just like, I'm like, oh, I'm part of this.
They
It's
made
really
you feel
sweet.
special too.
Exactly.
I think that's really what is the crux of the conversation with Marisa, is just super motivational, makes people feel super special on her team, and even just talking to us. And I think it's a good reminder of why like good teammates are important, good girlhood is important, friendship is important, on a day where we need that lesson, definitely. So we're excited to hear from Marisa. I'm excited for everyone to hear this episode of the Blue Demon Room podcast, so check it out. Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Blue Demon Room podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Jenna Duddleston. I'm Casey Standahar, and we are very excited to be joined today by DePaul women's tennis coach, Marisa Arce. Marisa, thank you for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
We're excited to have, it's the girls' room.
It is the girls' room right now.
You know, we love that. We love those moments, and I just am excited to have you here because, you know, I don't know a ton about women's tennis or tennis in general, so I'm excited to learn something today. We know your nickname is Mish.
Yep.
Everyone calls you that. Where does it come from, being that your real name is Marisa?
Yeah. It's confusing, and it's a big argument in my family. Like, my grandma used to say she made it up. My one brother says he made it up, but really, I mean, there's videos from when I'm like 3, and they're calling me Mish. So
It's cute.
No one really knows where it started, but we talk with my friends. They'll introduce me as someone, and I'll say Marisa, and they're like, why would you even say that? Like, you're Mish. And I'm like,
They're
it's kind of
offended. They're like,
weird to be like, hey, I'm Mish. But yeah, it's just always been my name.
That's fun. I mean, people call me Case for Casey.
Yeah, but it
and
like
people call you
fits
Jen.
more.
I was
Like,
gonna say
yeah.
it reminds me of, I'm currently watching Dancing with the Stars right now.
Love it.
And there's this old clip that keeps showing up of Robert Irwin and his sister Bindi, like when Robert Irwin was born. And so she's holding him as a baby, and she's like, and like Steve Irwin's like, his name is Robert, and she's like, I'll call him Brian for short.
Yeah, like Mish
Ryan.
doesn't go into Marisa,
Yeah.
so I don't know. But it's always been my name.
And something we learned about you is that you are a reader, and to start every practice, you read a chapter of Becoming a Great Team Player by Alistair McCaw. I have never read this, but I love when coaches get really into like books and leadership books and you know, team oriented books, because I'm just so fascinated, like, what's everyone reading? You're a big reader, Jenna.
Yeah.
So I just want to know how you found the book, and why is it important to you? Why do you feel like you need to start your practices with an excerpt from that?
Yeah, I think I found it because I would see his stuff like on Instagram and just little like snippets of the book, and I was like, oh, I should buy that. And then when I was reading it for the first time, like the chapters are like a page and a half max, and just like really good, like simple messages that I think are so relatable to the team, and just for them like individually too, that I just had the thought like, oh, this will take a minute to add to our routine, but it can be really beneficial. And even if it's just beneficial for 1 or 2 people that day, like it's still, I think it's still a good idea. And it was kind of just the message, but also like that it was easy to break up into those little chapters.
Do you feel like the team has responded well to it? Like, you feel like they
We
enjoy
reference
it?
it like, all the time. Our guy, Alistair McCaw, and I mean, I've messaged him, I've slid into his DMs and asked him questions. Hey, this is going on with the team, and he'll reply right away.
Wow.
And, like,
Awesome.
And like give advice, and he's just seems like a good dude, and has a lot of good books.
Yeah.
Jenna, you played volleyball, and did your coach or did anyone ever like do readings like that, or was that important to your team?
My situation's a little different. I had a coach who would leave Bible passages on the door, but she was a hypocrite, so I hated that. I'm not getting that vibe from you. But no, we didn't have that, but I think something like that would have been really beneficial. And I think the other thing that was like coming up to me as you were talking about this is like, that passage, that chapter could mean something really different for each person. And I think that's the beauty of like, we can all interpret something a little bit different. And then when you like all talk about it, it's like, oh, you took that away from this? I didn't even think about that. Or like, oh, I thought about this. And like, you're all kind of building off of those blocks of like what it means and how to better improve yourself each day.
Yeah, and on Wednesdays we have a different person who chooses a chapter, and they like read it and tell us why they chose it. And so it's a cool way to hear like their perspective of a certain chapter and why they think it's, relevant for where we're at.
I think it's cool that they're engaged in more ways than just practicing tennis.
Yeah.
Well, it's using the mind.
Right.
Obviously you're using your body every day, but you also need to be sharp up here too, and to think outside of that, or just think in that way too helps. Coach, you've created a really kind of unique family feel with your team. We know the girls comment on all of your Instagram posts, which I think is great. You bring your kids to work sometimes. You guys travel together. How do you think the kind of closeness, that like intimacy that you've created has helped just with their level of play?
Yeah, I mean, I think like I want it to be a family feel. I think that makes it like a better experience. I think it makes them better tennis players. I think everyone's just more vulnerable and comfortable, and we're just in a setting where, we don't have to be perfect all the time, but if we're struggling, we have like 9 different people you can lean on. And I want them to be, independent and able to problem solve, but I also want them to like feel secure and that, we're there to help them too. And I think that's just a good balance of a family. That we have each other's backs, and I think being a mom helps me, with that, and I think being a coach helps me to be a mom too. So I think it really works both ways.
I had a coach say once, kind of going off of the family thing, he would say, "Who do you want in your foxhole? Like, are you gonna go and battle with the person next to you? Like, who are you picking to be in your foxhole?" Which is like a bit extreme, because I'm like, Terry, why are we talking about war? But he was great. But I always think, like when you have the closeness, like off the court, you're more likely to want to battle and compete when you're on. And like, you don't mind going, into each other's foxholes to make sure that you guys can, find a way to pull out of it and get out of it together.
For sure.
Is there a message from the book, going back to that a little bit, that's helped you, that sticks out to you about, maybe it is about family or teamwork or closeness, that you kind of apply to your whole life?
I think just the general message of like, it's teaching you how to be a team player. And in tennis, we don't really learn that unless you played other sports. But like, if you're only playing tennis, you don't really learn that until college tennis. So a lot of it is things that, we're learning for the first time in this setting. And how it can make us a better version of ourselves. And I think, being in a family and being a parent, like that's your team too. So it's the same kind of concepts of like, taking care of your attitude and your energy, because you're going to make those around you, better. It's the same thing on the tennis court, or even if we're just with each other in this building, or if I'm at home with my kids, that I think, it's, again, not all just sunshine and rainbows. It's saying, like I'll even try to tell my kids, like, oh, this was hard for me today, but I, was able to do it, with a good attitude, and let them understand that, like, you don't just wake up, happy every single day feeling this way, but you can do things to still be able to show up, for, for the team, for your family, for work, for whoever it is, every day. And I feel like the book gives you, different lessons, from that about, it's not just about you, but it's about, the team and being a great team player. And I think that leads into like you being the best version of yourself too.
Love that.
That's interesting. You talk about how, again, like is for most of the girls that are on the team, is it their first time, like, I guess, actually being on a team?
At a high level, yeah. I mean, some have played like other sports, but like for most, no, this is it.
So that's like coaching that. Is that hard then when you have like incoming freshmen or transfers that come in? Like, what is that mindset shift? Because like I've only ever played team sports, and to then have to go to an individual sport in a sense, like I think that would be a struggle for me. So I'm wondering, how's that transition for them?
Yeah, I mean, it starts in the recruiting process. We have to get people who want to be a team player. Not every tennis program in the country cares about them being a team player. They might care about them winning as many individual matches as they can, and like that's the priority. Like our priority is to be a team player. So it starts in that, in those recruiting calls, Zooms, whatever, like being very open and clear about what we value and that it resonates with them and it's something they want. They're not going to come in here and be perfect at it, but we want all 8 girls, 9 girls, 10 girls to want to be a great team player. And I think that's what we have. That's why we have such a great atmosphere, because nobody's perfect, but they all want to be that. So when we kind of have a dip or we fall in a certain area, like we can bring them back because it's what they really want. And I think because we're really like clear and communicate that well, we end up with people here who like value the same things and want the same things, so that you're not pushing them to do something that they don't want to do. They chose this, they want this, and yeah, we're all like walking the same path.
Yeah.
When you're close to these players, I mean, there obviously is some level of closeness because it's a small team, and you talked about the recruiting process. How does it feel trying to maintain the identity of being a coach versus being a friend? You're involved and privy to these personal conversations and their personal lives, and they probably feel like they can open up to you, which is a good thing. But there's also still like, okay, I'm the leader of this group.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a line, we are aware of, every single day. Because again, we want them to feel, loved and supported and secure and safe, and we're a person they can come to for anything. But we also, we've sat right here in this room talking about how I think some of my teams have been a little too dependent, on like me as a coach or whoever my assistant was. And because we are so like loving and supportive, but that they need to be able to, spread their wings and go, and we need to like let them fail a little bit. And yeah, we're really, kind of aware of that because I just want to help them so much, but sometimes that can be hindering. So like we had a talk in September about like, if something is hard in your life, like try to like problem solve like yourself. If you can't get through it, go to a teammate. If you guys can't get through it, like then come to me or my assistant. And really try to, figure out what that process is. And there's going to be certain things that they come, straight to a coach about, or certain things that they never come to a coach about, but trying to, figure out what that line is. And yeah, they are my friends, but like I'm also, their coach. So it's kind of understanding, that line. And when we step onto the court, like this is business, and we have standards and we have goals, and that we're always striving, to meet them.
Yeah, and that's probably hard to do. You're wanting to build their independence, but it's also tough when the majority of the team, the entire team, is international students.
Yeah, so like they're moving overseas to play. So like I'm going to assume like you're the emergency contact. Is that a safe assumption to make?
Yeah.
Okay. So like how have you been able to help all of the women like transition over here?
Yeah, I really like can't take credit. They do such a good job of, like, for example, if someone lands at O'Hare for the first time, like sometimes it's their first time in America, And
That is a hard thing to do as your first, like,
no, but
welcome.
Yeah.
like I won't have asked them, hey, can you meet them at the airport? They'll be there. They'll have already like sheets and a comforter for them to use and a pillow that night, like things that you would never think of unless you had experienced it. That like, you're not going to fly here from Europe with like a comforter and a pillow and everything. You're going to buy that here.
Right.
But if they land at 8 p.m., are they really in their jet lag? Are they really going to go to Target and buy this stuff? And what are they going to find just going at that time? Like, do you want to buy something you're actually going to like want to use? I mean, they think of everything. They show up, they have stuff for them to borrow until they buy, you know, whatever. Like they really set the tone for that. And again, I think it starts by getting the right people, the people who want someone to arrive here and feel welcome. So I think I'm part of it by, you know, like recruiting those people, and we have the environment that like fosters that. But like I also
they're
just
going
have
out and
people,
doing it.
that want, and they want to do it. They're not like, oh, I have to go pick up this girl. Like, no, they want to, and they're
nice.
excited to.
You're
And
setting
someone
the
did it for
standard.
them, and they
Right.
want to do it, you know, for someone.
You're setting the standard with your recruitment, but then they're kind of taking the reins from there.
For
which is
sure.
what you can, that's all you can ask for as a coach.
For sure.
That's awesome. Talk to us about your experience at U of I and how you feel like that helped you be at DePaul kind of in the same market, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I mean, I loved my time at Illinois, and I think a big part of it was my teammates and my coaches. You know, my coach, who's actually our volunteer here, Georgia, made such a big impact on me that, you know, I wanted to go and make an impact, even if it's one person, you know, each season, but just go and try to make as much of an impact as I could, and help these girls on and off the court. So I went into coaching right after graduating because, I had a great experience with my coaches and knew how special college tennis can be, and just trying to, create that environment.
What was so special about Georgia, and why was it important for you and maybe for her to stay with you and come back and help you coach here?
Yeah, I mean, so she came from Northwestern. They were #1 in the country. She was, I think she's like a 3-time All-American, ranked highly singles and doubles. And she came to Illinois, where we were ranked around 30 in the country when she joined our program when I was a junior. But she held us to the same standards as the #1 team in the country. You know, no one should have a better attitude. No one should be working harder. All of these things that are controllable things, there's no reason why we can't be doing that. If we're, you know, doing those things as a 30 in the country team, and then we play a team that's 20 and they're doing it at 20, like, why would we win? We need to be doing those things as like the best team in the country, and that's how we can move up. And, you know, when I graduated, we were top 20. And, you know, I just like felt that difference. Our schedule was, you know, pretty much the same, what we were doing day to day, but it was that intentionality behind it that really made the difference. And, you know, it was a big part of my coaching philosophy. And I don't think those values change over time. So we've kind of been doing our own things for the last, 13 years. And when this opportunity like came up, we were like, yeah, let's do it. And, she's been a great asset to our program, and just another person that, the team can learn from. And
what are you most grateful for from those years? Maybe it's the wins and the records, maybe it's not, but what kind of stands out to you when you think about your time at U of I?
I think it was, when I joined Illinois, there was only 11 teams in the Big Ten. We were 10th out of 11 in the Big Ten, and then unranked nationally. And so just to be just part of that whole process, I remember our first ranked win. I remember our first ranking. I remember making the NCAA tournament. I remember winning a round in the NCAA tournament. I remember all of these milestones and doing it with my best friends. I think that was so much more fulfilling than just joining a team that was already top 20, but to be through it, to go through all of those different milestones. And what you remember are, the, stupid hangouts at night with your teammates, just the road trips, the meals, like that's what you really remember. Yeah. The girls will ask me like, oh, did you did you play this person? I'm like, I have no idea. Like, I remember, a lot of important matches, but just those regular matches, I'm like, I have no idea. And then I'll look and be like, oh yeah, I did play them. But you don't remember that, but you remember, the jokes and the inside jokes and just all that time you spent together and those bonds.
I've never heard anyone talk about the enjoyment of being a part of a program that's getting built up. Because I feel like most people just want to be
They want to get there.
in the winning circle already, you know?
Yeah.
So to hear you talk about like, I got to be a part of laying the foundation, like that, and like thinking about that, I'm like, yeah, that is more special. That like then the next generation gets to come and you're like, they're doing it because of like all of the groundwork that we've been able to lay.
That's
For sure.
huge.
Yeah.
No, I think that's like, we're living the dream, right now. And I think we owe it, the team I'm coaching right now, we have this environment because of the work, we've been doing the last 6 years. And I owe it to those girls that were on the team then to, hold us to these standards and, have the culture that we have because, they were part of building that too. And, I think it's really cool for them to look at this team and like see a lot of those same things happening and just be really proud and feel connected, to the program.
Being a coach now, do you see any similarities with the young women that you're coaching and like when you played back in the day? Like are there any that like really stick out to you?
Yeah, I mean, I think when I played, you more just said yes and like did it. These girls now want to know exactly why we're doing things and like the purpose behind it. And there's a lot of like peers, like other college tennis coaches, I'll talk to them and be like, yeah, like the girls don't buy in, whatever, like they want to know why, like they need to just like trust me and do it. And I really look at it as like I did listen to everything my coaches said, and maybe I wondered why, but I would never like have asked or whatever. Like these girls, yeah, they want to know why, and I try to communicate that and not have them have to ask.
Yeah.
But the buy-in you get is actually tenfold from what they got from a player in my generation. Once they know why and they like believe in it too, I think you're getting way more buy-in. So yeah, it takes a little more like groundwork, but I think the vulnerability and just like having that openness and that trust is like a lot bigger.
It sounds like they're inquisitive because they want to know the why so that they can kind of like be more, like you said, be more bought in. And so it's a little bit more research, but in the end, it's because they care.
Yeah, and they do. And again, I mean, I'm lucky because I have a group of people who do care and we have a lot of the same values and a lot of the same goals. And so like that's all there. And so, yeah, when they want to know why we're, doing this certain fitness and it's like, yeah, the purpose is that it's really hard and you're going to be doubting it and you're going to be thinking, oh, I can't make this time. And I'm going to be telling you, no, you can. And you're going to get through it and you're going to do it. And now you just overcame a challenge that's going to be the same doubts you hear during a tennis match, and now you know exactly how to handle it. They're way more into doing that conditioning session. We're not just running for you to be miserable. We're running, obviously, to get physically fitter, but like there's so much more to it than that. And if we can, every team's running, but if we can do it and get to that 100% and not just 92%, like that's gonna like separate us from another team. And then you see a different output from them. And we're not running as a punishment. We're not running, and that's just like one example, but they understand it. And then you get them actually working at 100%.
But the buy-in is also that the respect that they have for you too. Like that's a big factor into it too. Cause like, I know I've played on a team where our coach would make us do things, and I've always been a very curious human being. I think I think it's kind of my Achilles heel. Like I love it, and sometimes they're like, "John, just knock it off." But when you like again, it's like I want to know why we're doing this, or like what is the purpose? How is this going to make me better when I'm on the court? And to have them fully be like, "Yeah, you're doing it because of A, B, C, D, E, F, G." There is that respect that they have for you. So it's and it is that like. Respect goes both ways, So like, and I think it says a lot about you and your character for you to be like, I'm not just gonna come in here and be like, you're doing it because I say so, and blah blah blah. Because like we've all had a coach that's done that, and you're like, that turned out great. But for you to be like, no, I'm going to explain to you why, and here's why. And then they're like, okay, cool. Like, everyone, let's get in, hold the plank, whatever it is. Like, and it just makes everything better.
Yeah.
It just makes everything better.
Yeah, and like tennis drills, if they know exactly what we're working on, because you can go and hit cross court and it's, something super mundane and we could do it every day. But if we're like, okay, we're hitting cross court and our intention is on like holding our positioning or, our height over that or whatever it is, then like they're more likely to do those things because they know what's expected of them. They know the purpose behind it. So it ends up like helping me to get like the output I want from them too, because they know exactly the purpose behind it and what they're should be like thinking about.
Yeah.
You had mentioned that you had a coach, that your coaches had like great impacts on you when you played in college. Is there anything specifically that you've copied from your coaches that you use today?
Oh my God, yeah, a ton. I could probably talk forever. I mean, there's a lot of like tennis specific, drills, a lot of double stuff. We worked a lot on doubles, and a lot of the drills we use are ones that I did as a player. But I think just that whole notion of like connecting with like players and coaches, just knowing each other as people, I would say that's the biggest one. I knew both my coaches, as human beings and have a great relationship. And so you're just able to make an impact, on the court. And that's what I try to do with all of my girls. I know them as people. Until I know them as a person, I really can't impact them on the court. It's not just about like the game plan. Oh, hit the ball here. Like winning has so many more levels to that. So knowing what they're thinking, what they're feeling, and understanding them and how to communicate with them is like, that's the way you can actually make an impact.
Yeah. And every player isn't the same too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, some people like a little, fire up the rear end. Some people you need to like very gracefully and gently pet and be like, hey, it's going to be okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And so for you, it's almost like managing personalities in a sense, probably, which is I don't want to say a bigger factor, but like it's learning that, again, it isn't a one size fits all.
Right.
Yeah. What does winning mean to you, like as a coach? Like obviously when you played it, like you were like, everyone wants to win, but like how has that changed now being a coach, or has it changed?
Yeah, I mean, for me to like feel proud come May, it's that we did everything that we could just day to day of, meeting our standards. And we pride ourselves with having really, high standards, that whether it's our body language, our intensity, the impact we're making on others, that every single day we're choosing to do these things, that we're playing like with our whole hearts and not just going through the motions. And I know, like, to me, it's a fact, and I work every day to make it a fact for more and more and more of them, that if we do those things, we're going to win as much as possible. But if we're busy focusing on just trying to win, then we're going to be missing, things that we actually have control over. And just, like, enjoying the ride. Like, we have fun. Like, tennis should be fun. We play better when we're having fun. And you can meet standards and enjoy it. And so some of them, like a lot of the transfers, that's why they transferred. There was no joy in the previous program. And so like, it's so cool. Like that's a win for me when someone's like, I love tennis again. Like that's amazing.
You've done your job if you hear that.
Yeah. And I know that if we're doing that and we're meeting standards every day, like we're going to be winning a lot too.
That's awesome. If someone is building a team, since we talked about team building and recruitment, even outside of sports, what would you tell them to prioritize?
The people. I just think I think first you have to know what's important to you and what you want from the team. And then you find people, who match that. And I think that's like above and beyond the most important thing.
I love it. Who is like that tennis player that you grew up like loving or admiring, or someone you watch now that you want your players to emulate?
I like Roger Federer. I mean, he was just so like graceful as a tennis player, just so like humble as a person. I mean, still is. But he was just, I think the GOAT.
The GOAT.
The GOAT.
I look at the Williams sisters and I'm like,
Yeah.
just iconic.
Yeah. It's
I've
amazing.
never even like played tennis, but it looks so hard. It looks so much harder than like I feel like I don't know.
You know what it is for me, like coming from like the volleyball side, it's the footwork.
Yes.
Like I remember when I went to school before, so I like was DePaul, but like transferred a bunch. I went all over the place. But we had when I was in Miami, the tennis courts were right outside of where volleyball practice. And I just remember them doing the footwork like all the time. And it reminds me a lot of like doing volleyball footwork where like it seems so mundane. But like, again, if you don't do those little details, like, and then when it comes and even just the like how many shoes do you go through? Like, I just imagine you gotta like go through a lot of shoes, you know, which is like.
do, because the courts are really
Because the
gritty,
grips,
too.
you lose the grip and then you're doing like sliding off the court, you know? No one needs that.
Yeah, no, it's a game, you know, I mean, like a lot of sports, it's a game of inches, you know. 1 point goes differently.
Yeah.
And, you know, you win the match or lose the match, but that's what we try to not, like our happiness or our, you know, pride is not coming from like if we won or lost that 1 point. Like how was, you know, our mindset that whole match? How was, you know, our work ethic leading into that weekend? Like, what could we have done? If we did everything, then we should be happy, whether we lost or won that point. And just, I hate when someone's like so upset, and I'm like, well, had you won that 1 point, you'd be the happiest person.
Right. Yeah.
So, like, we need to figure out what,
Move on from it.
you know,
Yeah.
what we can actually take from it.
Well, Marisa, thank you so much for being on the Blue Demon Room podcast with us. It was great to talk to you today. I learned a lot about tennis that I didn't know, Jenna. It was just, you know, now we have to get out there and play.
I don't think we should embarrass Marissa like that.
Okay.
I don't
We'll
think we
skip it.
should.
But Marisa Arce, thank you so much for being on the Blue Demon Room podcast. For Jenna Duddleston, I'm Casey Standahar, and we will see you next time.